So I sat down with the original Daleks serial again, and I have to say, I wish it was better overall. Of course, the first two episodes are fantastic, and to some extent the third as well, but the fourth episode begins to drag, the fifth picks it up a bit, some wicked cephalopod in the lake, fun stuff. Six drags, I feel, and then seven can be fun, but feels a little rushed, and one has to wonder why Daleks can't see any objects in their rather immediate periphery. I commend the first two episodes quite highly. The atmosphere of the jungle and for the most part the Dalek city are pretty terrific for what it is. Obviously the Daleks themselves are outstanding and all of the scenes featuring them, and especially scenes featuring just them, are generally gold. I find that the baiting and attempted slaughtering of the files is choppily directed and edited, and I know, it is a show of a budget, they did the best that they could, but it's still clumsily executed as far as I'm concerned. When the serial focuses so much on convincing the files to do this or that and then wandering from here to there, episodes 5 and 6 are mostly literally Ian, Barbara, and some files just travelling through the jungle and through some caverns. Not horrible material, but not what I want to see when I watch a serial titled, well, The Daleks. It is quite solid as an overall production, but man, did stretching this thing over 7 episodes really injure it. It is awkward somewhat watching this, knowing that the Daleks were eventually hyped up as the most dangerous beings in the entire universe, because they seem rather, sometimes, vulnerable or sluggish here, but I guess they didn't realise how uber powerful they had to appear in subsequent seasons. Or decades. This is probably nothing that most fans of the original series have been aware of for a long time now. Most probably appreciate this serial, specifically in spite of its evident limitations, and as I said, it certainly starts out pretty swell. Up until and including episode three's cliffhanger, it's rather nifty stuff actually. I like how it makes very clear that these aren't just typical nasty sci fi robots, they're fucking squid demons using these giant robot bodies as shells in order to be more mobile and to survive an immense nuclear fallout. Which makes it a bit silly that Ian can just hop inside one and maneuver it about, but whatever. That's really when the serial begins to go a bit downhill, in my opinion, but the cliffhanger saves that third episode overall, I feel. I do wish it were a bit better, but what is good in this series is pretty damned good, to be quite fair. It may not compare so positively to some of the Dalek serials which would follow, but at its best, it is one of the more solid Hartnell serials, just maybe not that ideally consistent within its own 7 episodes. Just sitting now and watching it all as one thing, it's just too long, especially considering how generally A to B and mostly uncomplicated the plot proceedings are. Let me know if I've overlooked anything. I'll have no issue receiving and having received some new reasons as to why this particular serial ought to be praised. It definitely deserves some credit because it does hold notable, pretty admirable merits.